this idea of developing our character. We're supposed to be upright, independent, and courageous, right? And you're coming out of a Christian background, as did I, right? And not wanting to give that up initially, usually because people are saying, well, that means you going to hell, right? And that's a strong hook to keep folks from wanting to, well, I can't leave that because if I leave it, I'm going to hell, and I don't want to go to hell. But at the same time, I took the approach eventually, because I had my uncle who kept talking about this at family gatherings and saying, does that make sense? If God loves you, he's going to send you to hell because you're trying to get closer to him, you're trying to understand, right? I said, no, God loves you, right? Then I heard the message from Muslims, if you say the Orthodox Muslims, talking about God is compassionate and merciful, right? So again, you're hearing the compassion, the mercy, and the beneficence. So I'm saying, what's missing? Is this some sort of psychological game going on to keep us locked into this? Then when my uncle said, understand, Moorish science is not telling you to give up Jesus. Moorish science is telling you to embrace Jesus. Moorish science and the prophet's teaching is essentially there to make you understand what Jesus was really trying to teach to the people. Not the way it was repackaged, reconstituted, edited, and presented for the people so that certain folks in positions of power in Europe at that time could maintain domination over the masses. What I often call prescribed ignorance, saying, well, it's for your own good I'm keeping you ignorant. So the more I studied history, and particularly religious history, the more I was understanding, wait a minute, that's part of the Christian historical record. There were Christians who had different interpretations of the teachings of Christ. And there were those who said what was coming at that time, and I'm not, I have no hatred for the Roman Catholic Church. I'm just saying what exists historically. The Roman Catholic Church was trying to limit the knowledge of the people about Jesus, and that's why you have a Protestant movement that emerges. And as we say, all these lessons are for those who love Jesus. And we're giving folks access to information about Jesus that isn't known. The missing 18 years, right? As well as recognizing that, and I say this all the time, we're not returning, if you will, the Christ. We're just returning the church and Christianity. Meaning how this tradition about Christ's or the Nazarenes' teachings has been repackaged, reconstituted, and given to you. For one thing, I knew when I heard my uncle say, do you think Jesus looked like that? Because my family had a picture of Jesus hanging up, and he looked like what I often say is Jesus of Norway, not Jesus of Nazareth. And then to get a encyclopedia and a map and say, show me where Palestine, Israel is. And that's awfully close to Africa. And then my uncle would say things like, well, imagine what that looked like 2,000 years ago. So he was baiting me, right, to do more work, and that was my reason for pursuing history, because he didn't know necessarily all the specifics of what the primary sources said. He was just using the good sense that Allah gave him to say geography and time, meaning geography and the time frame. This isn't yesterday, it's not 100 years ago, it's not 200, this is 2,000 years ago. So he's like, brother man, who was there 2,000 years ago?
Right. You see, that's what the prophet of moral science will do for you. That's why they say keys. It'll start unlocking things, making you go look at stuff.
Right.
And it'll make you start looking at, okay, how did Israel, or how did Palestine, or how did Saudi Arabia, how did all these different places look, or all of Jerusalem, all these places that Jesus walked. But now you give us a European. So I go back and look at, okay, I'm looking at the brother man. I'm studying the brother man now. I'm not studying him from a spooky perspective. You know, I'm studying him from a physical perspective, letting me know that what he did, I could do. And what he became, I could become. So all these things, how the prophet brought Jesus to me, made me see Jesus in a whole new light. You know, I don't even see Jesus in the light. That's why I say you got to give Christianity back. So once I gave it back and started restudying it, you can love Jesus in a way that you never thought you could, because once you start seeing him as a European, and you start being like, oh, they done tricked me. You know, and you don't want it no more. So when you come into moral science, you're talking about Jesus. Oh, there they go with Jesus again. But then when you start seeing him as your brother man, then you can accept Jesus, and you can accept the teachings in a whole new light.